Hello, followers of Christ. I hope you had a wonderful day. Mine's just got better. I just received a phone call with a job offer that I have been praying about for a couple of years now. So I'm really excited about that. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here to talk to you all about what the Lord showed me, spoke to me on yesterday when I was reading the book of Song of Songs. So let's just kind of back up a little bit. So, y'all know I've been reading. Long story short, I've never read that book, never heard scripture, or not scripture, but not necessarily a message. Like when I go to church, I've never heard a sermon in regards to the book of Song of Songs. So when it was time for me to start reading it, I just, just kind of dove into the first four chapters. That's as far as I've gotten so far. And when I first started reading it, I was like, oh, wait, this is a little spicy. It's kind of intimate or whatever. And because it does a really good job of describing the events that are taking place and what they're feeling and how they're going through it. And just in a nutshell, it's supposed to be relations between two married people. The description before the book is kind of saying something to the effect of that they think that Solomon may be the author of that book. So they feel like that it is between him and one of his wives, which he had many wives. So, but regardless of all that, I'm reading the book and I am noticing, like, I'm like, why have I've never heard any sermon about this book? And it's like, I know that it's very intimate. I know that it's talking a lot about relations between a husband and a wife, but why are we not preaching about it? Because marriage has really gotten to a point now where it's more commercial than holy matrimony. And so it was very interesting to me. So, of course, me being who I am, I asked the Lord the question. I was like, why have we not been talking about this? And the first thing that I heard loud and clear was because we've devalued beauty. And not in the sense of what we think beauty is, not in the sense of like, just humans. We're talking about overall creation of God has been devalued down to just the basic necessity of life. And so I was like, well, Lord, give me a little bit more. I need a little bit more. I'm with you. I'm feeling you on this. Like it's hitting strong. So I need a little bit more context on it. We have taken what God created, which is us, human beings, and we have started depicting what we're supposed to look like instead of valuing what it took to create what we look like. We're not appreciating the work that has went into what God has done or how he has created us. And because of that, and the reason, would I get this wrong? Well, of course, you know, the stereotypes that we see on TV, how we've commercialized everything to look a certain way, be a certain way, all these fads and trends, as soon as something pops up on TV that, oh, we got to have this, or we got to look this way, oh, I need that hairstyle, or I need that makeup, I need that outfit, oh, I need to listen to this music. We have allowed the industry of entertainment, the industry of just economic commercial spending in general to take us away from the true initial value of what God has done for us. And in the midst of him explaining this to me, he kept reminding me of how when we're going on a drive and we say we're going to take the scenic route, it's the scenic route because you're actually going through the location where you can see nature, where you can see the mountains and the trees and the flowers and the meadows and the oceans. Like you can actually see the creations of God. And it makes it a, even though it's a longer route, When you're not worried about trying to get from point A to point B, you enjoy the route just based off of what you're able to observe, the raw true nature of creation. But when we're busy and we're trying to just get there, we take the fastest route, whatever interstate they have, whichever one ain't blocked, we take that route because that's created by man for the sake of getting from point A to point B the quickest. But there's no appreciation for what God has created. So that's what it means when it says we devalue. So we don't talk about marriage in the sense of how we should love on each other and how we should be intimate with each other, because we've devalued beauty so much, or we have uh started dictating what beauty is to the point to where it's almost secular to talk about the beauty of a woman or the beauty of a man. It's kind of hard to express that without it being something in the negative eye. So I'm like, okay, instead of us looking at beauty from the man's definition of what beauty is, we need to start to go back to the word of God and look at what beauty is to him. And that is the work that we put into the things we do, just like the work that he put into us. Like, instead of you talking about your eyes are too close together, think about what it took to create those eyes. Instead of us talking about, how we need to lose 10 pounds here, 20 pounds there, I'm the world's worst about it. So I'm including myself in this. We need to think about what it took for God to create the body that we have, and the the strategic genius that went behind the color of our skin, like the shades that he mixed together and to create us. The hair strands, like how many different strands of DNA does it take to make one strand of my hair and then duplicate it so that I have many strands of hair. And then, those type of things is what I'm saying. It's not always about what was created as much as it can be more value in how it was created. You when you go to um eat a good meal or you eat soul food, one of the things they tell you about soul food makes it more comforting is the amount, or why a lot of people don't do it anymore, is because the time that it took to prepare the meal. It's something about being able to take your time to create something that makes it taste that much good. When people make chili, they'll tell you, don't, it's good. You can eat it the first day, but it's even better the next day, because when you create it and you allow it to sit and you allow it to marinate and you allow all those ingredients to actually do what they were meant to do at their full capacity, which is the time that they need to actually be maximized at their maximum flavor, it changes the taste. It enhances the taste and makes it that much better. There's so many different types of beauty out there, and there's so many different ways that you can describe beauty, but God's way of identifying beauty is in the creation. It took him 7 days. To us, that's not a lot of time. 7 days older, it took him a week to create the earth. But look what all he did in that week. Look at the world for what it is on a massive level, and look at all that he created in that amount of time, the detail that went into it, the different go and Google how many different types of trees there are, and then you come back and tell me if that's not worth valuing the beauty of a tree. Not because the tree looks like this, or oh, this tree's white and this tree's brown. We don't compare nature to nature. We only compare each other to each other. And what happens is, how do we end up devaluing our beauty? Is because we compare each other to one another, and then the spirit of envy, the spirit of jealousy, the spirit of anger start creeping in and start attacking that beauty and making it feel as if it's not worth anything, that it's not worthy. And then we mimic it, we repeat it, we duplicate that same spirit over and over again to the point to where we start believing it. They've showed it on TV so much. Well, this person, they associate it with good things, great things, but then they have a person that looks like you and they associate that with bad things to the point where you feel like you're no longer valued. Your beauty is not worth having. So you try to alter and make changes to what God has created so that you can feel normal in this world when you were created differently for the sake of us being diverse. If God wanted us all to look the same, He would have created us all same. He wouldn't go as far as to making it to the point to where no one's DNA is matched to another person's DNA. And it's important that we understand what that means. That means that you are important. Your strands, your unique coding was necessary to be existing upon this earth. That is why you are here. You have a purpose. You have a meaning. Your looks were just part of the makeup, but your DNA makes you important enough to exist on this earth. It makes you important enough to be a part of God's kingdom. And we have to stop devaluing the beauty of the makeup that God has created out of us so that we can move forward to do the things that He instilled in us. Because guess what? Looks is not the only thing that is part of our DNA. There are other things that are part of our DNA. Our strength is part of our DNA. Our intelligence, our level of intelligence is part of our DNA. Our ability to be able to do things, certain things in life, makes us who we are. And if we start focusing so much on the superficial things, which there's nothing wrong with that, because you are beautiful the way that you are, and I cannot say that enough. And it's not about beautiful in the sense of what man think it is. It's about because what God did to create you. The amount of time He took to make that ear, the amount of time He took to make your neck, the amount of time He took to make your feet. If you got 6 toes, God made an extra point to make sure you have that 6th toe. So the amount of work that He put in you to create you for who you are is enough, or should be enough, to motivate you and to know that if He went that far to put this in me, to create this, to add this to me, what else? Get curious about your beauty. Get curious about your creation of who you are as a person when you're on your walk with Christ. Find out what all God has instilled in you. Get hungry about that. If you cannot get excited about, or curious enough, or hungry enough about anything that God has put before you in life as far as living life, get curious enough about what God has instilled in you. Figure out what's in you. Figure out what you're made of. Figure out what you're capable of. Identify something in you that you did not know exists, something beyond the basic necessities of life: breathing, talking, walking. Go further than that. There's something deeper in you that God has placed in you, and He's waiting on you to contact Him, to connect with Him, to bond with Him, to pray with Him, to speak with Him, to talk to Him, to believe in Him, for Him to activate that in you. And then you can come back and be like, wow, I did that? Wow, that is in me. I have that. God has given me that much authority, that God has given me that much power. I did not know that it exists. And you're not going to know that it exists until you connect with God. You're not going to be able to tap into the full capacity of who you are until you start having a relationship with Christ, until you start reading and believing that you are made in His image, that you are made with Him having the ability, with Him giving you the ability to have authority. You know, it's, I get so excited, but I try to calm myself down, because when we realize that as a parent, one of the things we're blessed with is being able to understand a love beyond just what a person can do for you. Loving a person just because you were able to carry that person, love them because you were put in the capacity to be responsible for a person. It changes your mindset on how you operate in love. So when you're, and I'm not just talking about those who birth children, I'm talking about anybody who's ever been put in a position to be responsible for another soul. You learn to bond with them on a level that goes beyond, well, this is all I can do. You start digging and diving so deep within yourself, things you think you thought you couldn't do, you're able to do. Like when I was growing up as a kid, because I had a child at a teenage age. So before I had my children, it was impossible for me to be able to go to work sick. Like it was like, oh no, I'm sick, I can't go. And I would call in with the quickness. My boss would tell me, you got to learn to get past it. Did not know what she meant until I was responsible for a child. Then I realized it was no staying at home. I had another mouth I had to feed. Somebody else was depending on me to make sure that they survived because they couldn't do it for themselves. So I was able to dig deep. Then I realized, oh wow, I can actually go to work and feel a little bad and still get through my day and still be productive in my day. I tapped into something and just trust and believe. I prayed the whole time, like, Lord, please help me get to work. Like, I'm sick. I know I'm sick, but I know I can't miss work. Like, help me figure this out. And He showed me immediately what I was capable of by being able to go to work and not feel 100%. So that's what God can do for you. When you're not at 100%, you can still operate at 100%. When you're not at 50%, you can still operate at 200%, because when God gives you the strength to be able to move forward in life, to be able to do things in life that you didn't think you can do, it shows you a whole nother level of what you have in you. And that thing that you have in you is the ability to connect with God, to strengthen you, to make you 10 times stronger than what you are mentally, physically, emotionally, all on every level. Spiritually, it's on so many different levels where God can be able to come in and instill those things in you. But before you can even get to the mindset to think you're capable of that, you got to go back to the original root of knowing that God created you. You are beautiful, and it's more than just what you see. But what you see is not that bad either. Don't let this world take away from you what God gave you. And one of the things He gave us is the creation of who we are. Don't let the world take that away from you. Don't let the world um minimize that, devalue you for that, because that is one of the primary reasons why we as a parent, teachers, administrators, anybody that's in the position of mentoring or teaching or trying to help others, we're struggling with getting people to believe and trust that they are valuable. And it has to do with the fact that we have devalued ourselves by comparison. And we've allowed that to come into our lives in a way that, and it wasn't our fault. It snuck in on us. Like if God hadn't shown me this yesterday, I would have never known it was an issue. But it's came into our lives in a way that has allowed us to not take or cherish what God has created us to be. And what do I say about that? Well, it's done in so many different ways, like our health. I'm the world's worst. Don't take my health serious. I don't value myself enough to take my health serious. So we're putting things in our body that is not healthy, and I say we because I'm one of them. I'm not counting myself out. This is just as for me as it is for everyone else. We're putting things in our body that we know that is attacking the body. This body that God created, the work that He put in to make sure that we have strong, healthy organs, to make sure that we have strong, healthy lungs, to make sure that we're able to walk and talk and be on a level beyond what we would be without Him. We're damaging it. We're eating things that we shouldn't be eating. We're drinking things we shouldn't be drinking. We're smoking things we shouldn't be smoking. We are doing all of this for a temporary feel good moment because we don't value. And the reason why we don't value, because we are like, well, if I can't see the harm done to me, then it's not harmful to me, because it's all covered, because it's happening on the inside and it's not showing up on the outside of our beauty. When it starts showing up on the outside, oh, we quick to say, like this right here, when we get pimples and stuff in our face, first thing we say is, "Ooh, I need to cut back on my sugar," because it's showing up on the outside. The minute we start looking dark eyed, oh, I need to increase my water, I must be dehydrated, or I need to get more sleep, only time we start valuing ourselves is when we see it show up. But usually by the time it shows up on the surface, the doctors will tell you you basically almost too late. So you have to start valuing it instead of valuing what you see, value in the work. When you do finally start clearing up, the work you have to go through, when you have to start drinking that water and cutting back on that sugar, all that in order to get your face to get back normal or to get the acne out your face. You do all that hard work and you be like, I'm not gonna go back to eating sugar like that. I just got my face cleared up. So you cut back. You make those changes because after you've done the work and you saw how hard it was for you to get it back to where it needed to be, you start to build your value back up. You start to realize that what's worth it and what's not worth it. But we have to practice it regularly. It has to become a part of who we are. We have to acknowledge God, that we are a creation of God. And when we're doing things to ourselves, we're disrespecting God's creation. And we don't have that intentions. And we know we don't. We love God. We love who He is. So let's show Him that appreciation. As a mama, one of the things I can't stand is when I walk into my house and I see clothes strolled all over my living room because my kids have gotten so comfortable, and they're comfortable. They're home. They're at home. And but they got their rooms. What they do in their rooms is what they do. But the hard work that I put in to be able to maintain this house and to keep this house for them, it feels almost like a level of disrespect whenever they leave their stuff laying around. So imagine how God feels when we start putting poisons in our body, when we're not taking care of ourselves. And we're allowing this world to tell us we need to cut this, we need to reshape this, we need to add this and pluck that. We're tearing apart His creation to the point to where sometimes we don't even recognize ourselves, or we're trying to invent ourselves to be what He didn't create us to be. And I thank God that He has grace and mercy, because that's what gets us past it. Just like a parent, you see your kid go through life and they do things, you don't stop loving them because they do it, but it does hurt. you know it is kind of painful sometimes to be able to see your child go a direction that you don't think is best for them, or you're afraid that they may hurt themselves going that way, but we allow them because they have to learn too, they have to grow too, and maybe they do see something that we don't see. But if in the end, if it comes back and it was what we thought it was, it hurts, but we still love them. God is going to still love you regardless of what you have or have not done to your body. I'm not telling you to go out here and just make this drastic change to your body. That is not what this message is about. This is about you changing your thought process moving forward to respect and value the creation that you are of God. Is to have a more appreciation for who you are, not to ridicule anybody, including myself. But I was just so blessed to be able to understand what God was trying to show me when he told me, he was like, we have started devaluing the beauty of His creations. So we have to start getting back to appreciating God and what He has done for us. Now, there is enhancements. You can enhance anything. When you see, like I said, nature, a tree, you take that tree and you grow that tree, or you move that tree, or you take a couple of leaves for that tree and you grow a tree in your yard, you're enhancing the beauty of it. There's ways to enhance yourself without taking away the value of who you are, is what it all comes down to. Yes, you can wear the makeup. You can do this. You can do things to yourself that's not harmful to yourself, or not harmful to you, or that's not alterating, or it can be alterating. But the question is, whether you alter it or you don't alter it, do you respect and appreciate the original creation, which is what God made you to be? And that's what it comes down to. I'm not telling you change who you are. I'm not saying that you can't change who you are. I'm saying appreciate that God created you. We're not talking about a physicality here, you guys. We're talking about a, appreciating that you are a creation of Christ. You are a creation of Christ, And just like you appreciate the trees and the oxygen that they give, appreciate that God created you too. Have value for yourself, self-love for yourself, and stop talking about God's creation. Quit talking about yourself. Quit talking about other people. God created them. Let them be who they are. Let them flourish. Let them grow. Let them be inspired from within. Stop taking that away from those. And I know I'm using negative words and I apologize for that, but let's not take away the things that make us great. And let's not kill the spirit of motivation and encouragement and self-love based on what the world is telling us we need to be, or we need to look like, or what we need to do. And the hatred, that's how we get rid of the hatred, because we start thinking about the creation. We start thinking about the work that goes into the creation. We start appreciating the value of the overall process, you know? And it's not to say God molds us and he shapes us. So I'm not saying you will never change. You are going to change. I have changed. I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago. I'm not going to be the same person today that I am tomorrow, because I'm in the process of trying to lose weight now. And yes, I'm going to lose the weight, but it has nothing to do with, well, let me rephrase it. I'm not gonna say it doesn't have nothing to do with me wanting to look good, because it do. But I am going to say it this way, that it also has a lot to do with me valuing what God has made me into. So, God gave me this body. I apologize for this house phone, y'all. It just goes off randomly. But because God has made me who I am, and God has created me on a level that I am on, I want to learn to appreciate this body by taking care of it. And if the doctors are telling me my weight is causing my heart to give out, God created that heart. I need to take better care of that heart. So I'm going to lose weight. And in the process, one of my rewards is looking better, feeling better, you know? So again, not saying that we shouldn't feel good about how we look, not saying that we should stop taking our beauty, or, how we dress and how we impress. I'm not saying throw those things away. I'm saying add to your value. Add to your scale of beauty. And what I want you to add to that is that you were created, that you are a creation of God. I really hope, I know it took me 27 minutes to tell y'all to get down to the soul goal of this video, this message, but I really hope you get it and understand it. And if you don't, please feel free to hit me up in the comments, and I will try my best to explain it and it's simplified as much as I can, because I really think this is important, not just for, the seekers of Christ, but also those that are currently lost. We have to remind them that you're a creation of God. That makes you wonderful. That makes you beautiful. That makes you amazing. There's something in you that you don't know exists. And I strongly suggest you go find out what it is. Find out what God put inside you. Find out what that is, and I promise you, it will make you feel so much better about life. It'll make you feel good about yourself, and it'll make you hungry and thirsty for being in God's kingdom and seeking Him. So, y'all continue. 2026 is going strong. We are only in the second month, but it is a powerful month. This month, there's a lot going on too. So, y'all be ready, be prayed up, keep reading your word, keep staying strong, keep having faith, and y'all have a blessed day.